धीयतां तदुदितं कर्म स्वनुष्ठीयताम् तेनेशस्य विधीयतामपचितः कामे मतिस्त्यज्यताम् पापौघः परिधूयतां भवसुखे दोषोऽनुसन्धीयताम् आत्मेच्छा व्यवसीयतां निजगृहात् तूर्णं विनिर्गम्यताम् सङ्गसत्सु विधीयतां भगवतो भक्तिर्दृढाधीयताम् शान्त्यादिः परिचीयतां दृढतरं कर्माशु सन्त्यज्यताम् सद्विद्वानुपसर्प्यतां प्रतिदिनं तत्पादुकासेव्यताम् ब्रह्मैकाक्षरमर्त्यतां श्रुतिशिरो वाक्यं समाकर्ण्यताम् वाक्यार्थश्च विचार्यतां श्रुतिशिरः पक्षः समाशीयताम् दुस्तर्कासु विरम्यतां श्रुतिमतस्तर्कोऽनुसन्धीयताम् ब्रह्मास्मीति विभाव्यताम् अहरहर्गर्वपरित्यज्यताम् देहं मतिरुच्यतां बुधजनैर्वादः परित्यज्यताम् शुद्व्याधिश्च चिकित्स्यतां प्रतिदिनं भिक्षौषधं भुज्यताम् स्वाद्वन्नं न तु याच्यतां विधिवशात् प्राप्तेन सन्दृश्यताम् शीतोष्णादिविषय्यतां न तु वृथा वाक्यं समुच्चार्यताम् औदासीन्यमभीप्स्यतां जनकृपा नैष्ठुर्यमुत्सृज्यताम् एकान्ते सुखमास्यतां परतरे चेतः समाधीयताम् पूर्णात्मा सुसमीक्ष्यतां जगदिदं तद्बाधितं दृश्यताम् प्राकर्म प्रविलाप्यतां चितिबलान्नाप्युत्तरैश्लिष्यताम् प्रारब्धं द्विह भुज्यतामथ परब्रह्मात्मना स्थीयताम् प्रारब्धं द्विह भुज्यतामथ परब्रह्मात्मना स्थीयताम्.
We have come to the last day, the last verse of this text. We discussed in detail 4 verses which has covered 32 points. For all those people who have come in the recent times who were not there in the beginning of the text, I like to bring it to your attention. This is Adi Shankara's last work. This is the last composition. After that, he walked away. So in the last composition, the topic we are discussing now is the last verse. That great scholar who has composed hundreds and thousands of verses, slokas, stotrams, panchakam, ashtakam, dashakam, commentaries, various debates. In his entire life, of all that what he did, the verse we are discussing today is the last verse Shankara composed. 8 points are there in it. It's absolutely important to us. The last text itself is very important, and we have come to the last 8 points of Sadhana Panchakam. Here he says, Ekante sukhamasyatam, ekante, solitude. Please remember, such a powerful point, solitude. Spend time in solitude every day. Ekante, ekantam. Spend time in solitude. What should we do? Make it a point. Make it your sadhana. Like on the first day of the text, those who attended, I insisted that every day commit to study. The first point, Vedo Nityam Adhiyatam. Every day commit yourself to the study of Shankara every day. That should be the hallmark of being a Shankar Dut. You need to know about Shankara. You need to know about his work. That only can keep you inspired. If I have to do something worthwhile, I need to keep myself equipped. So every day commit to his work. Don't compromise on that. Every day, few minutes in the end, do introspection. Don't compromise on that. And now, ekante sukamasyata. Ekante, spending time in ekant, solitude. On this, what we are discussing, do not compromise again. Please keep this in mind. Every day, if you're not a traveler, some of us are, the profession itself is traveling. We move from place to place, but some are in one place. Fortunate to be there. There's not much travel. For you, mainly, those who are in one place, choose a spot in your location. It could be a terrace, it could be a balcony, it could be a garden, or if there's a river by your town or city, choose one spot and one time. Every day go there and sit quietly for minimum 20 minutes. It can be your own puja room, it can be the terrace, it can be anywhere. Make sure 20 minutes you sit quietly. What should I do? You should not do anything. Should I chant? No, you should not chant. Japa? No, you don't do japa. What should I do? Don't do anything. Don't do anything? Don't do anything. Sit quietly. Should I close my eyes? Not necessary. Open your eyes, keep looking. Suddenly you will notice different things. You will probably see a butterfly flying and you could be in awe about a butterfly flying. It could be a bird, or it could be a leaf falling off a tree. Gracefully the leaf comes down. It's a sight to watch. The tree has discarded, painless discarded. The leaf just falls off and it sails down. And whatever you watch, you will be watching, you will be admiring. Let it happen. For few days, interest will be outside. Same place, same time is crucial in this instruction. For others who are traveling, you choose wherever you can, but choose 20 minutes. As far as possible, same time. But those in one place, same time, same place, every day. First few days, the mind would be interested in things outside. will appreciate the sunrise, probably you will feel the cool breeze, hundreds of things. And it will think various things, let it think. A point will come, friends. The mind will lose interest in the outside. It will turn in. It will turn in. Just solitude. Doing nothing, sitting quietly. A point will come where you will look within. Your interest outside will go, it will turn in. Once it turns in, very vital questions you will answer. Absolutely important questions. Because now it has turned in. You will ask, what am I doing with my life? How long I should be like this? Where am I heading? Is my time being spent well? These kind of things will start churning. Once they start churning within, most important questions are coming out. Solitude becomes a mirror. Solitude, quietude becomes a mirror. You are seeing yourself. Things which you need to drop, things which you need to cultivate will happen. And those 20 minutes, quiet. No mobile, nothing. Not talking to anybody, no phone, nothing. Just leave it out, sit quietly. Every day. Then slowly when you turn within, you'll start seeing things which you need to change by yourself. If I say change this is not okay. If I say change that is not okay. It may take time. But if you see, this in me needs to be changed. This in me needs to be discarded. The moment you see it, you will drop it fast. So make this a commitment. 20 minutes quiet time by yourself, same place, same time, every day. Once a week, on a Tuesday or on a Saturday or a Sunday, whichever is convenient to you. Extend the solitude to 45 minutes. Once a week. 45 minutes. Just sit quietly. Once a month, extend it for 10 hours. I'm not joking. You have no idea of the transformation that can come to you. One Sunday or a Saturday in a month, choose, go somewhere. To a nearby temple, all alone by yourself. If there's a good ashram, go there. Seashore, mountain, anywhere you go, once a month, sit by yourself for 10 hours, 6 hours, just all by yourself. Every day, 20 minutes. Once in a week, one day, 45 minutes. One day in a month. 8 or 10 hours by yourself. Do this sadhana. You see what results it gives you. Many people seeking started in solitude. Seeking doesn't happen in a group. It happens in silence. It happens in quietude. It happens in solitude. Imagine the last verse in which Shankara's first point, seek solitude. Be in solitude. Spend time alone. 20 minutes daily, 45 minutes on one day in a week, and almost a day, once in a month, 8 to 10 hours by yourself. In a year, go somewhere for 3 or 4 days, quiet. It could be anything. It can be Omkareshwar, Ekatmadham, go sit there, or any other place. 3 days, just sit there. Disconnect yourself from other things. It's a powerful tool of transformation. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. It has done wonders, not just to me and to many people who have followed this instruction. And this is in the last verse of Shankara. He says, Ekante Sukamasyatam. So every day, how many minutes? Once in a week? Once in a month? Once in a year? Do it just like Vedo Nityam Adhiyatam. This, do it, you will see the difference. Ekante Sukamasyatam Paratare Cheta Samadhuyatam. In solitude, live joyously. Quieten the mind in the Supreme Lord, Paratare. In Him, quieten the mind. Mind would be violent. Mind would be turbulent. Arjuna tried controlling it and then he screams to Krishna. Loud scream he makes. He tells Krishna, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. This mind of mine cannot be controlled. It's turbulent. It's going wild. It looks like impossible to control. Chanchalam hi mana Krishna. This mind is chanchalatva. I am not able to control. Krishna's advice was Vairagya Abhyasa. Vairagya, detachment, Abhyasa, practice. Through practice and detachment alone you can bring the mind under control. Here Shankara says, sublimate that mind, quieten it in the Lord. How? How do we do this? Every day, sometime, you pick up a verse. What does this verse mean? Imagine such beautiful things are there. What does this verse mean? Try to reflect on it. Try to think about it. What does this mean? Why did Shankara say this? Think. Those moments are moments of contemplation. Mind naturally calms down. And whenever the mind goes off somewhere, pick up a quality, a spiritual quality, and start thinking about it. A mind going here and there suddenly becomes spiritual. The mind wanders here, there. Now you are giving it a direction. This is called sublimation. Mind will go, but you can choose the direction. Think of it. Mind will wander, but you can give it a direction in which it has to wander. Now, wandering mind, you have given a direction. How beautiful is that? The mind wanders with unnecessary things. The mind thinks about useless stuff. The mind goes crazy. And we can't control it. But we can give it a direction in which it has to go. Think. You choose the direction. Suppose the mind is wandering away. I'm giving you an example. The mind is wandering away, disturbed, agitated. Maybe you can think of Mother Sita. Example. How much courage this one woman must have had. When kidnapped by the most powerful man at the time, Asuric force. The superpower kidnapped Sita. Living alone, not sure if Ram will come or not. And this lady has to be quiet. How she must have spent every moment. What must have been her life, where she did not lose her balance. How she would have managed it. Think about it. Now, wandering mind going elsewhere is given a direction. This will be full of inspiration. Just to think how Sita would have conducted herself in those dark days. What kind of strength she must have had. She withstood a difficult test, isn't it, of that whole period. Stood there. What is that strength? Now you are giving the mind a direction to think. A direction of inspiration. You can think anything. This is an example I gave Sita. It could be Lakshman. What it means, he's a young boy. And he says, if Ram is going to the forest, I'm going with him as his escort. I'll stay with him for 14 years. Is it a joke to take up something like that 14 years to go when you were pampered in a palace? I will be with my brother for 14 years. What is that brotherly love? So beautifully described about him. Think what Lakshman should be. Or what should be Shankara's journey when an 8-year-old leaves Kerala and walks to Madhya Pradesh? 8-year-old? What must have been his life? Where he must have wandered around? What kind of people he must have met? A child, a baby. Rivers and mountains, forests and think. You don't even know where you will get the next food from. From where? From some unknown. An 8-year-old wandering. Now if you imagine, a wandering mind of yours is now given a direction. Quieten the mind in the Lord this way. Give it a direction so the mind stays inspired. Quieten the mind in the Supreme Lord. Paratare cheta samadhi yatham. The mind is sublimated. You have given a better direction to the mind. In this direction, when the mind goes, slowly it will calm down. Then you can take up, once you have mastered this art, then you can take up Upanishadic mantras. Isa avasyam idagam sarvam. Now you can contemplate. What does the Rishi say? Isha, the Lord, is pervading this and everything. What does that mean? That the Lord is pervading this and everything. Think about it. Now, instead of thinking stupid things, you have given a direction to the mind. Obviously, the mind will become quiet. We have a library of content, not one book. You understand? That one book I have read 10 times. Now what to read? We have library of books. Vishnu Sahasranama. Think of it. 1,000 names to contemplate. Where do you get here contemplation content? 1,000 names. Shiva Sahasranama. Lalita Sahasranama. Nothing is small. Ashtotaras are there, but Sahasranama. Lalita Sahasranama. Vishnu Sahasranama. And Vishnu Sahasranama, for those who don't know, Shankara's first commentary was that. Shankara wrote first commentary, what he wrote was Vishnu Sahasranama, explaining each name. 1,000 ways to contemplate, 1,000 ways to quieten your mind. Where on earth do you find literature this way? For a wandering mind, 1,000 ways to think about it and by which the mind will become silent. Vishnu Sahasranam, Shiva Sahasranam, Lalita Sahasranam, you take it. So in the Lord, quieten the mind. First about the characters at an early stage. What it must have been to be a Krishna, what it is to be a Yudhishthir. Beautifully described. Then to the mantras, Vedic mantras. What does this mean? What does that mean? Vishnu Sahasranam, 1,000s of ways. Choose them. Choose those methods to quieten your mind. Contemplate on them. Give the mind a direction. Think. Now what I told you, is it difficult? 20 minutes daily, is it difficult? Just when the mind is wandering, giving it a direction to wander, is that difficult? And there is enough content. Think. Then he says, realize and see the all-pervading self everywhere. Purnatma. That this entire thing is filled with one God. See the self, the all-pervading self everywhere. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. Everywhere there is God. See that. Okay. I found a nice story. And I love this story very much. And I share it because I'm yet to find another story more impressive than this. But it conveys a baby fish went to mother fish and asked, "Mummy, where is ocean?" Who's asking? Baby fish is asking whom? Mother fish. "Mummy, where is ocean?" Swimming in the ocean. Now the mother fish has to answer this question. Question is easy. Answer, na? Answer it in a way which the child has to understand. So the mother fish looks at the baby fish and says, "In front of you, it is ocean. Behind you, ocean. Any side you turn, ocean. Up, down, ocean. You were born in ocean. You are existing in ocean. You will disappear in ocean." Where is ocean? Now, remove the word ocean. Put God. "Mummy, where is God? Where is God?" Any side you turn is God. You are born in God, living in God, moving around in God, will dissolve in God. Where will we go? Where God is not. So anything which is existing is God. Ramana Maharshi was asked, "What is God?" He said, "Whatever is God." You can't beat these answers. You cannot improve one extra word you can't put. Such precise. What is God? Whatever is Satvastu, existing. Whatever is existing is God. Keep the fish in mind and remember where we move. We move with God. Realize and see the all-pervading self everywhere. It is just one God in whom we are moving around. And we are nothing but that form of the same God. Not just me. All forms are Him. Everyone will dissolve there. You know, you play the game of chess. When the game gets over, the coins are all taken. You put them in a box. Correct? The next game you open up again. Next Kalpa, Pralaya, all will come back. Now they go back. Where do they go back? To that box. The king and the pawn go back to the same box. Because from there they came. They go back to the same box. Coming from one place, going back there. For now, one looks like a king, another looks like a pawn. Just a game. End of it, the king and the pawn back to the same box. From divine we manifest, into divine we exist, into divine we go. Shankara tells us, watch that self everywhere. See everything as that self. Recognize, that's what he says. Realize and see the all-pervading self everywhere. And then he says, recognize that the finite world is nothing but the projection of the self. This manifested world is nothing but God. It's not God only inside. Inside is to experience within. Outside we see. I found some sage saying this. When I close my eyes, I see him as formless. When I open my eyes, I see him in all forms. What a way to say this. Huh? When I close my eyes, he is Nirakar, formless. When I open my eyes, every form is him. Every form is him. I'll tell you something which my guru said this. I was very fortunate to be with him. A Shrotriya Brahmanishta, I could walk around with him. He never carries an altar with him. Altar, na? You carry a deity. He never carries any. Advaitin. Proper Advaitin. No form, nothing. None of us have seen him sitting and doing puja. None. Japa he will do in front of us, sitting there. Like watching a cultural show, he'll do japa. In a travel, if he's going, he'll do japa, just keeping the mind that way. But doing puja, I have never seen. Not me, everybody has not seen. If in that area where he has gone, in that town, if they are organizing a Vishnu Sahasranam, Archana, or Lakshmi Puja, or any other puja, he will sit there. If a new building is being made, Grava Pravesh Puja, he will attend, or like Bhumi Puja, that and all he will sit there and attend, but he himself will not do. He'll just, Advaitan, crossed, na karmana, na prajaya, na dhanena, tyage neke amrtatva manashu. He lives there, dropped all this. Somebody asked him, do you do puja? He doesn't do, we have never seen him. Someone asked him, Swamiji, do you do puja? Do you do? He said, yes, I do. But nobody has seen. He said, yes, I do. You do? Huh? When? Every evening, 6:30 to 8. That is his pravachan time, yajna time. Every evening he gives lecture, every evening. Without a Sunday off. That was him. His itinerary was like that. He didn't have a day off. Do. So he said every evening, 6:30 to 8. I do puja. The place where the talks happen, it is called Yajna Shala. Jnana Yajna. In the fire of knowledge, ignorance is burnt. That is Jnana Yajna. What we are trying to do right now is Jnana Yajna. With the newly received knowledge of Sadhana Panchakam, our ignorance we are burning off. Ignorance is offered as Ahuti in the fire of knowledge. So he said, Yajna Shala is my puja room. Every evening I do 6:30 to 8. Yajna Shala is my puja room. And now comes the most beautiful statement. The people sitting and attending are Devi Devatas. The people sitting and attending are Devi Devatas. I invoke them through knowledge. What a way to say this. I invoke them through knowledge. Who is sitting? Not ignorant people. Devi Devatas are sitting in front of me. I invoke them through knowledge. See that self everywhere. He lived that life. Even when he was giving his Upanishadic lectures, Gita lectures, the people he felt was that Devi Devata. And I invoke them through knowledge. Do you do puja? Yes, 6:30 to 8. Yajna-shala is my puja room. People who come to attend are Devi Devatas. I invoke them through knowledge. Shankara says the same. He says, recognize the finite world around you as the projection of the self. See everything as that. Creator, created, or divine. See it that way. From gold, whatever you make is nothing but gold ornaments. See the entire world as that extension. From gold, if a bangle comes out, it is gold. If a chain comes out, it is gold. From gold, only gold can come. From divine, only divine can come. Purnamada, Purnamidam. That is absolute. This is absolute. That is divine. This is divine. The manifested is nothing but a divine. So he says here, recognize the finite world is a projection of the self. Everybody. So when we get a chance to serve, we serve with that spirit. How well, a grand idea can come. So many people have grand ideas. To implement that grand idea, make it practical is not easy. It's not easy. Your proper follow-up is not there. It is not easy. If a method is not given, implementing is very difficult. A grand idea can be there. But look at our rishis. That grand idea, that infinite self. When you and I meet, what do we say? Namaste. Namaskar. Hari Om. Ram Ram. What do we say? When we meet, we bring our hands together and then we say, what is this gesture of saying? The self in me is saluting the self in you. You are divine and I offer my salutation. A grand idea, practical implementation as a daily greeting. You see the vision? In every small temple, in every small village, this idea is implemented till date. Look at Sanatana Dharma, yeah? This grand idea. See the finite as self. See the finite as that all-pervading self. The finite and the infinite. How do you implement it? The rishis managed to give us a method by which when we meet, you and I meet, we say that. That grand idea is implemented to the last man. To the last man. Every Indian language, you have this word, isn't it? In Tamil, we say Vanakkam. Vanakkam means Vanangiren, I salute. Vandanam, same. Telugu, you take every language, you have this. Namaste. To you I salute. Namaskaram. To you I offer my salutation. The divine in me salutes the divine in you. This verse is implemented in daily living. How powerful is the implementation? What a grand concept implemented to the last man. And we have managed it. Sanatana Dharma is still living. Thousands of years and it is still living. Implementation. So that namaste is that. He says, recognize that finite world is nothing but the projection of the self. Conquer. Now comes the last few points. Conquer the effects of the deeds done in the earlier lives by present right action. Prarabdham. We have, see, karma are of three types. Prarabdha karma, Sanchita karma, Agami karma. Three types. When we say karma, it falls into three categories. Sanchita karma is the sum total karma of what we have done. Sum total. What I have done in this life and in earlier lives, all that put together is Sanchita. It's a huge bag of full karma. When we manifest, when we have taken this body and come now in this manifestation, we have not brought our Sanchita. We have brought a portion of it. That portion which we bring is called Prarabdha. Why we didn't bring entire Sanchita? Why not come with the entire Sanchita karma and exhaust one time? One may have to live like Bhishma, 800 years. Ready? 800 years to carry on with this body, ready? Because Sanchita is total. Only a portion of it we bring, that is Prarabdha, which gives us, some people only 20 years, some people 10 years, some could be 80 years, 90 years, it goes on. We take a portion and come. That is called Prarabdha. While exhausting the Prarabdha, we create new. That is called Agami. While exhausting Prarabdha, we create new. This is called Agami. I will explain this in detail. First point, because these three are connected for you to understand. Conquer the effects of the deeds done in the earlier lives, Prarabdha karma. Through wisdom, become detached from future karma, Agami karma. Through wisdom, perform actions in such a way that there is no Agami added. This is the most important. I have some total of karma. If I realize God in this life, Agami and Sanchita both are burnt. Both are burnt. If I realize. If I don't realize, the new karma what I created adds to Sanchita and again I take birth, I come back again, one more birth. Prarabdha manifested. This is how the cycle goes on. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani, jatare shayanam. Again birth, again death, again birth, because we come. Now Shankara gives us a way. How do I break free from this? The Prarabdha which I have come, I have to exhaust. On which I cannot do anything because it is manifested. I have to exhaust the Prarabdha. But I can control Agami. I need not create new karma. There's a verse in chapter 2 of the Gita. Yoga karma sukaushalam. Dexterity in action is yoga. Please read Shankara Bhashya for that verse. Translations are available. Gabirananji is there. One Warrior has written translation. These are very good English translations of Shankara Bhashya. This verse you read. How to avoid? When does a action becomes yoga? When does the action becomes yoga? We do so many actions, but when does it become yoga? Yoga karmasu kaushalam. Let it become dexterity. When? When can an action become yoga? Shankara says in his commentary, you won't find it elsewhere. He says, action has to be performed to its best. Point 1. That action which you perform to your best has to be dedicated. Point 2. Dedicated to the higher. To that action you perform, you should not be attached. Point 3. Action has to be performed to its best. Point 1. Action has to be dedicated. Point 2. To the action you perform, you should not be attached. Point 3. To the result of the action, no attachment. Point 4. If we perform an action in this spirit, action, you have to give your best. It can't be mediocre. Because you have the potential, go out and give your best. That action, whatever you have to do, give your best. We discussed it on the first day. Teneshasya vidiyatam. Dedicate the action to the Lord. When you dedicate it to the higher, you will give your best. So action, whatever action we do, we must give our best. That action which we have given our best must be dedicated to the Lord. To that very action there cannot be attachment. And to the result which comes, no attachment. No attachment to the result, no attachment to the action. Dedicate the action and perform your best. If we perform like this, karma cannot touch us. That action is yoga karma sukhaushalam. That action only. This sounds a little complicated, but if you practice it, this is the best way to cut that karma. Otherwise, karma will come to us. Small things which you do, do your best. Dedicate it. Don't attach yourself to that action, nor to the result. Just enjoy doing your best. If this way we perform, karma cannot come to us. This is what we learn when we come to Advaita philosophy. What we learn is this. You know what the teacher does? He gives us this knowledge. The Guru gives us this knowledge. That's why we are grateful to him. He has helped us to move out of the circle. He has helped us to cut the chain. We were caught in this. Aneka janma samprapta. Not just one birth. Not here, there. Aneka janma samprapta. Countless times we have come here on this earth. Aneka janma samprapta. Karma bandha vidahine. Aneka janma samprapta. Karma bandha vidahine. Countless births we have taken. Maybe in human form and in other forms. Countless. And then we come across a teacher. He gives us Atma Jnana. Self-knowledge, Atma Bodh, Atma Jnana. We gain this Atma Jnana which cuts the karma bandhan. The last verse, you see what Shankara is touching? Exhaust your prarabdha intelligently. While exhausting prarabdha intelligently, don't create new karma. How I not create new karma? Dedicate the action. To the action and to the result. Don't be attached. And to that very action, give your best. If we do that, we conquer the effects of the deeds done in earlier lives by intelligent living life now. And by living this way, we become detached from future karma. Imagine no new karma is added, then this bag has to get exhausted quickly. We are adding new and keeping the bag alive. Sanchita becomes loaded because I keep adding more. But the teacher gives us the knowledge by which we don't add new karma. Think. So here comes the last point. Experience and exhaust the past actions that have been started by prarabdha. Okay, that's understood. I have come, now prarabdha cannot be changed. It has to come. I must know to accept. Here also, the teachers were compassionate to guide us. Prarabdha I cannot change. How I meet is in my control. What I meet is not in my control. How I meet is in my control. Do we use that control? Do we use that freedom? Think. What we meet is prarabdha. How we meet is purushartha. We are not using that choice. What we meet, we sit and weep. What we meet, we sit and, brood. How I meet is in my choice. We are not using that freedom at all. I can meet something with a smile. I can meet something with a strength. I can meet something with a light heart. I can meet something, let it go. Bounce back, smile. We can meet. How to meet is in our control, totally. What we meet, we have created them in the past. That will happen. What happens is prarabdha. How I deal with it is purushartha. Purushartha can be used intelligently. So the 39th point is that Shankara says, experience and exhaust the past actions that have started as prarabdha. Exhaust that. So there are 40 points, 5 verses. Each verse has 8 points. Every day 1 verse. 8 points. 5 verses, you will do this in 5 days. 1 reading you will do this book. I am not saying just chant the mantra. Try to understand the meaning. Commentary is there, read it. Reflect upon the notes if you have taken. That way, do a reading of every verse daily. 1 verse a day. 5 days, first revision over. First revision done, 5 days. If you can commit. If you can commit. Commit for 10 revisions of the same book. You see, you're not listening only, it's not focused one. We have a lecture, and then there's responsibility. There is so many other things. There is distraction. Hundreds of things happen. Therefore, 10 revisions are necessary. Every day 1 verse. 5 days you complete. That way 10 revisions would happen in 50 days from today. Look at it like a 50-day program if you can. We stop now, sit straight, don't touch one another. Close your eyes. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.